This is my first day recording. I'm trying to prepare for my new brand. So Celiac, I ultimately have a gluten allergy. I have a pretty high sensitivity to gluten. I did go to a doctor and was told from blood and stool tests that I have a high gluten antibody. Basically, after that diagnosis or those test results, I have monitored my body very closely, and I know that gluten does not agree with me. It makes me very sick. I was having very aggressive symptoms into early part of 2022, and here we are now. So I believe that those things, eating gluten, I'm going through IVF, coming out of a pandemic, my body was screaming, no more. You cannot eat the way that you thought you could. And I had to really step forward and eliminate the things that were making me sick. I knew my body was not in its best health. My body was beginning to be unresponsive to working out. I was working out 4 times a week during Pilates, and I couldn't lose any weight. I'll wake up in the morning after sleeping 8 hours. I still would be extremely fatigued and tired. I would get up, coincidentally, may possibly eat a bowl of cereal, and then want to go back to sleep. I thought that I was suffering possibly depression because I needed to understand what my body was doing. So go in, talk to the doctor, and indicated that I was suffering from malabsorption. In addition to that, my hormones were off, my progesterone was very low, and what she believes was causing it all was my response to gluten. So she's like, oh, you're okay as far as, potentially anything else that may be concerning you, but you have some pretty severe food allergies. And the main culprit was gluten. Wasn't the only thing, but gluten was the main culprit, and I was advised at the time to absolutely avoid gluten from my diet. The other food allergies like corn and oats, which is annoying because they are good substitute for gluten. You are unable to eat them, but in my case, I have to be careful with my intake of both corn and oats, sesame, coconut, and tree nuts, almonds, as well as peanuts. So I was instructed to absolutely avoid gluten, but to limit my intake of the other allergens. And it was, explained to me that I have so many other food allergies because the gluten has irritated my digestive tract to the point where now anything else that I eat is also now beginning to irritate my digestive system. And can you imagine the life-changing diet, life-changing journey that this began me on? Because now I got to understand what that means. I had to understand what gluten was. What does that mean? And then I left the doctor's office actually still being a bit of a skeptic and questioning what she had diagnosed. That don't make sense. I mean, what? That don't even make sense. What is that? So, of course, I tried my luck to see if I can monitor and track how my body was responding. And absolutely, my body responded. It just wasn't a good thing. I was belching. I was gassy. It was correct. And I decided to begin my journey of eating whole foods. What I took from that was my body telling me, you don't like processed foods. So my body was telling me, hey, give me fruits, vegetables, and proteins. Keep it simple and don't complicate my food mixture, how I was mixing my food, so that my body can take a break from digesting. But I'm a Black woman, and culturally, Black folks, we eat a certain way. And my challenge and struggle with beginning to live a gluten lifestyle was that it was affecting the way I socialized. I go out to dinner with the girls often at social events and professional events, munching on. And what was happening was that all of those things, in order for me to enjoy that experience, what was some of the most enjoyable parts of the experience, I was having to eliminate. Cannot eat that stuff. And, for the first holiday, Thanksgiving, I was sitting there with an attitude, okay? Because I was hungry and everybody else was eating all the good food. And I had ham and some greens because that is what my body could process. That was tough. So this is my journey. I look forward to sharing with you everything that I know about gluten from my experience. I hope that you can join in on this community. I am going to show you that you can be gluten-free and fabulous and eat good. So join me.